Getting into the map right now. We've got a few casters for this one, so choose your poison. I believe we've got French, Russian, and German, as well as English, so there you go. Foreign language support in Assembly 2011. I bring you the one and only Damarga. He is in the red trunks, and he is playing Zerg to the south, versus his opponent, the one and only Elfie. He is in the blue trunks, and he is playing Protoss to the north.
And looking at Elfie's past, most recent past online cups, I did mention he's won a few, and he'd won, I think, the Competto Cup, and that was against Nurtio. And obviously everybody knows Nurtio now is a great Zerg player. He actually beat Nurtio 3-0.
That's convincing.
And that was only like 4, 5, 6 weeks ago.
And Nurtio was really getting to his prime at that point as well. We saw him in Shoutcraft Invitational about 5 weeks ago, and he was almost unbeatable. He destroyed Mora 4-2, and then he went 3-0, I believe, against a player there, and he also fought really well against White Ra. So, yeah, Nurtio is a rather dangerous player. If Elfie can beat that, then as far as I'm concerned, that does convince me just a little bit that he's got a good shot here.
Though this is Damarga, a very scary man. When you look at him, when you speak to him, you forget about that.
I would certainly hope so, yeah. He's a very nice individual when you're speaking to him. And then, of course, when you're playing, it's nothing but raw determination on the face and a desire to kill.
And the basically trait that Damarga has is he can play any Zerg style he wants. He can play very low drone count, he can play very heavy drone count, he can play defensive and passive. And right now we do have a spawning pool first, and we'll be following that up with a hatchery very shortly here. And meanwhile we do have a 13 gateway going down for Elfie, followed by 14 gas, that was actually squeezed in at 14 just before that 15th supply count. And now we do have each, well, actually we do have just Elfie, sorry, going into scout. Damarga not really sending out anything yet, and look, that is hiding a drone. And we'll be going down to build that hatchery. And does Elfie turn around? Yes, he does.
Oh, is he going to get there in time, though? He might not. It's very close one way or the other. Does he get the block? He does. There you go. And Elfie will prevent that, at least for the time being. And that's unfortunate. Oh, no! Sneaking it in there right there. Elfie caught slightly out of position.
Yeah, Elfie caught slacking a little bit there. That should have been denied. Should have forced down another drone or forced an early over. Well, she did, but should have forced the extractor. But nope, it does go down. We have a complete standard wall off here, and this is interesting because on this map we do see players, well, I guess that's because of the Destructible Rush. I was going to say we do see players going for Forge Expo, but this is the Destructible Debris version of this map, so that makes that a little bit less viable. So we are going to see a pretty standard build here from Elfie. He's got double extractor here, going Sentry Expand, and I wouldn't be surprised if he just went one gate into the Expand, just had a couple of units, and then went from there.
It would make sense, honestly. I don't see any reason to believe otherwise. Out he goes. Damarga is going to have a look around and see what he can see in the first place. And there we go. We've got the pylon going down to the bottom of the ramp in preparation for that expansion and start to create a partial wall off right here. Still a little bit risky. Damarga trying to catch that probe out of position, which is most likely not going to happen. Stalker already moving into intercept and save his little brethren, and that is a sneaky little third right here from Damarga, and that's not really all that surprising on Terminus, but obviously that's going to give him a good economic advantage, assuming that Elfie doesn't try to start piling the pressure on.
This is... wow, Damarga. Okay, he hasn't scouted whatsoever. He has no idea what's going on, and he's just playing the map.
Yeah, he just put a third down.
It's Terminus. It's a large map. He's expecting, you know, some form of expansion play here. He's not really expecting any aggression, and takes a super early third. That means that drone count is gonna be so high, and because he got that 30, he had to wait until 30 supply to actually get the gas now, and that's a problem. You know, have the Stalker, great move into that extractor, by the way.
Oh yeah, very cool.
Save that drone, but that's the problem when you do go for this kind of build, is that you get speed so late, and Stalker pressure is very viable. And look at that, Elfie actually has to pull away because he doesn't understand, does Damarga have gas, does he not? And this is the regular timing of when 20 supply extractor, speed starts to finish soon, and you don't want to be on the other side of the map losing that Stalker.
No, you don't, and Elfie did not scout that third, and to be honest, I can hardly blame him for not looking, because he could have been very easily trapped in there and lost the Stalker, which is never good early on in the game, but that's going to really help Damarga out an awful lot. The question is, over these next couple of minutes, are we going to see Elfie try and pile on any kind of pressure? He only has one functional gateway, working on another. If we have a look at his gas, we're looking at 3 and 3 in each, so he's got plenty of potential for tech play, also to start piling on the pressure. Damarga having a look around and see what he can see. And this should be interesting for Elfie, because he's going to notice that speed is still not on those Zerglings.
Yeah, I'm sure he knows that there's been a third base thrown down already, and we do see that Forge going down pretty much instantly. and that's going to be good to get those upgrades going. He may build a cannon if he feels threatened, but he shouldn't realize he doesn't really see speed. Meanwhile, we are seeing the lair and a Roach one being thrown down, so we're going to see Roach play, and that's pretty standard. You know, if any Sentry, Zealot pressure does come out, Roach Warren's going to clean that up quite easily, especially because Demaga is only building drones right now. He's currently at 44 at 725, 2 more in production, so 46 almost.
Oh, and Demaga is playing incredibly greedy at the moment. That's moral level greed, that is, in terms of how many drones he's actually getting out there. Question is his defense as uncrackable as Morrow's? That'll be an interesting thing to find out.
So we do have that +1 starting now. And are we going to see a fast third maybe? What are we going to see kind of deviation? We are going to see hallucination first of all though, before the deviation comes into effect. And basically he needs to scout out. And when a player goes hallucination, it usually means that he's going to get the robotics facility a little bit later than usual. He's not going to get that observer out straight away. And he might pile on a few more gateways. And Elfie, from what I understand, is a very execution-based player. He loves to do execution-style builds, 6-gate, 7-gate, with blink, without blink. So we'll have to see what he does here. And we already see the Twilight Council go inside that main base.
Yep, he's going to have a look around and see what he can see in the process. He will perhaps scout that third. I think it's quite likely, unless the hallucination gets shot down. There we go, slides itself in, sees the third, sees how saturated it is, notices that the gas has gone down on that as well. Now, Zergling did sneak into Elfie's natural. However, Demaga still has no vision whatsoever of tech in the main, which is perhaps the most important thing. He doesn't know about the Twilight Council, and he doesn't know about the robotics facility. He can assume the Robo is late because of the hallucination, but aside from that, he's playing in the dark.
And we have the Infestation Pit going down nice and early for Demaga. Infestors are pretty good recently. I mean, they're going to take down the sentries so fast, and there is a lot of sentries here. We do have a fast third from Elfie, understanding that, you know, if I don't take it, I've either got to do a lot of pressure now or I will lose this game. So he takes that third Nexus there. Meanwhile, adding on Blink, and then we'll start upgrading +2 attack very, very shortly here. Sending out another Hallucinated Phoenix, checking the army composition, because I don't think he actually understands that an Infestation Pit has gone down, and that's going to give him a lot of information.
Well, this is kind of neat, because he actually went in with a Hallucinated Void Ray right there, which was a little bit unusual, trying to throw Demaga off his game. Needless to say, he's not going to fall for that. He'll have noticed that no damage was actually done. If he hadn't fired with it, he might have got away with it, but it still would have been a little bit weird. He knows the hallucinations are there, so he's not expecting any kind of crazy Stargate play at this point.
No, I mean, he just went in with Hallucinated Phoenix. He saw the Panathan Glands being researched. He saw the Infested. He now knows that he's playing against a Roach, Ling, Infestor style of play. And to be honest, Demaga's been a lot in the dark recently, and not many people do know how he plays this matchup, aside from the players he trains with or plays on ladder with. So I'm not one of those people, so I'm intrigued to see how he's going to play this out.
Yeah, it's interesting, because Demaga was a really, really big name for a long time, and then sort of kind of fell off the map just a little bit. He wasn't competing in a huge number of tournaments, but I think it's a very silly thing to do to forget how good Demaga was and how good he obviously currently is. He's evidently been training really hard for this one. He's now, of course, moved into the position of one of the favorites in this tournament, now that the top 3 are out. So we'll see. We might see a Demaga tournament win, which would, of course, be a very big surprise, I think, for a lot of people, but it certainly has been a long time coming.
And unit tab now, and this is what I talked about, how Demaga can change up that drone count, 64 to 68, and he's playing a relatively low drone count. We see players go all the way up to 100 as of recent. I know Mora likes to go up to 100 sometimes.
That he does.
And we are seeing only 64, so he's going to have a large army to engage this Protoss army. And we do have the Thermal Lance being researched now. Colossus are on the way, and Colossus is going to be vital in fighting against this Roach, Ling, Infestor style of play.
No doubt about that. I like the way that Demaga is actually pushing forward very aggressively with his creep, and is now bringing it around in order to deploy these spine crawlers to secure this 4th base right now, make it a little bit difficult to deal with. Elfie, of course, has now scouted that. He is well aware of what's coming. And as Elfie, what do you do now? I mean, you are severely outnumbered. Your supply count is 121 versus 173. You've seen that your opponent has taken a 4th and has moved out, and you are well aware of his composition.
Well, it's cross positions on Terminus. It's already automatically difficult, because how do you pressure on such a large map? Because if you do, you're going to get caught off guard. A lot of times you're going to lose units loosely. So it's really, really difficult to play. I guess the best way he can play it is a kind of a slow build up to that 200 supply. You know, take this 4th base as he's doing now, get that upgrade, the +3 upgrade, and then kind of build up to 200 army, look for that 4th base, and then start to fight a 200 versus 200 army. And if you think back to DreamHack Summer, Damarga's weakness against Sake was the fact that he sat back too much against a skilled Protoss player who came back with a lot of high-tech units. And in this case, as long as that Elfie can get up to 200 supply and fight 200 versus 200 and take minimal losses, engages correctly, he's going to have a good time.
Well, Damarga's approach, evidently, to counter that is to build about 5,000 spine crawlers in the middle of the map, which is going to be a little bit difficult to actually break. That's a very strong defensive position he happens to have there. And, of course, that's easily extended to then cover this space right here and potentially up to take any of these. So he's got a lot of options right now. That said, if he keeps waiting and Elfie is able to max out his army, get good upgrade count, then he should be in a great position. I think the thing is, though, Elfie knows he's up against it at the moment because he saw the Hive and he saw the progress on the Hive, and Broodlords are going to follow that one up. He must be aware of that, and as a direct result, Elfie is, I think, pressured to attack now rather than wait for the Broodlords to come and kill him.
Well, he's only 20 supply away from 200, so he definitely needs to go to 200 before he moves out. He has an observer with the army as well, and there's so many spine crawlers here. Damarga is not really looking for a direct engagement. He's looking for counterattacks, which is why Lings have been moved out, but he just wants to stick there. No direct encounters, and we'll wait for these Broodlords to be moved. The Greatest Spires on 40%. And Elfie does know the timing, and here comes this counter effect from these +2 Lings.
Yep, a nice little run by right there. There's a lot of Blink Stalkers on the field, though, and some damage was certainly done. We can have a look at it. Only 3 workers killed there by Damarga, so that wasn't exactly all that great. And now this big force is moving out 38 Blink Stalkers, and he will have +3 when this hits. So this is going to hurt.
Yeah, I mean, Damarga didn't really care about those Lings so much as long as they were. And look at that hallucinated Colossus as well.
That's interesting. However, he did do that on creep. I have to wonder. I don't think Damarga actually realizes that. So that Colossus count is looking really scary, and how much damage are we really going to see coming from this push as a direct result of that? The Corruptors are firing at the wrong Colossus right now, and that's a really big problem because this force is doing huge damage as a direct result of that. Quick blink backwards. However, a Colossus taking fire right there from the right flank as the Corruptors are now targeting the right Colossus, and they are falling down. However, the Stalker count is still massive, and this Corruptor count is going to go down very quickly. A really big aggressive blink in right there by Elfie, but that's a large group that can be easily fungled. Shields are down on that as well. However, it looks like Elfie should be able to crack this defense.
I don't know, though. The economy of Damarga is absolutely blooming right now. 70 Lings are about to morph, 6 more Infestors, and 11 more Roaches. The reinforcements of Damarga are going to be streaming in and hopefully be able to clean this up. There's +3 attack on these Stalkers, though, but it looks like Damarga is going to clean this up.
Yeah, he should do. That said, those Infestors are completely out of position, and Elfie will be able to nail down several of them, which will be nice. He now needs to leave. He needs to get his defenses up immediately. Dark Templar warp in right here by Elfie, which is an interesting move, and perhaps it will do damage, but what's he going to do against these Lings, more to the point?
Well, DTs do defend, but now Damarga knows there are DTs in play. He already has a Spore Crawler in the center of the map, but now Elfie's in a really tough spot. He lost his entire army there. He's down to 1-8 food versus a really monstrous Damarga right now. 191 already, straight back up to max. These upgrades +3 melee attack is about to finish as well. It means the Broodlings, the Lings are going to be even more beneficial. And that attack was meant to kill Damarga. It was supposed to kill him, but it did not work out. DTs are going around the map, though, looking for any hidden expansions.
Yeah, and really Elfie being stuck on these bases for quite some time has not really helped him. At least he now does have this 4th. If we have a look at how mined out he is, he's actually not doing too bad. He's not even mined out his main yet, so his economy is pretty solid. However, Damarga's has been really monstrous. The thing is, it's hungry, and he'll probably have to try and expand again at some point in the not-too-distant future. Single Archon now moving out to lead this force. Big Archon heavy force, and of course they will eat those Fungals quite nicely. That said, he's going up against much superior numbers, and Broodlords are in the mix as well. Fungals lock down all of the Zealots, and while they will be able to carve their way through there, he's taken significant losses already. Will Elfie be able to nail down the Broodlord? One falls from the sky. However, the Zerglings quickly clean that up, and now Elfie forced into a retreat once again.
Yeah, there's nothing he can really do to combat these Broodlords. As long as Infestors, Lings, and Roaches are underneath them, there's pretty much nothing he can do. This is really difficult for Elfie, and that is the problem of this map. You just cannot pressure a Zerg to stop them and prevent them from going up to 80 drones almost instantly. In this case for Damarga it was like 60, but still there's nothing you can do. He's going to deny the space though, which is his good options out here. He's taken a 5th base on this
Smart.
left-hand side, which is really beneficial as well. But oh no, Damarga smells it and goes down and hunts that down with these +3, sorry, links.
Wow, that is a lot of pain, and that really helps the Broodlords out as well. Huge amounts of damage there. Should be able to save this, unless, of course, Damarga decides to just barrel down the middle and destroy it completely. Will Elfie be able to hold it? That's a good question. And right now, Damarga is just going to have to sit fairly passively until he builds his army back up to 200, and then try and smash his way through the middle, which is going to be painful one way or the other, and throwing these DTs in the mix as well is interesting. And, of course, he is morphing right there into Archons repeatedly.
And this is the problem on Terminus. DT does go down there, but this is the problem on Terminus, is that it's very hard to expand after the past 4 or 5 bases for a Zerg player. It's very easy once the Terran or Protoss control the center of the map. They can swing left and right very easily to go harass these expansions. So Damarga is throwing everything into his army right now, into these Broodlords, into Corruptors. More Spine Crawls are going down. He has 3,700 banked up right now. He's deploying all these Spine Crawls to prevent any counterattack while launching everything to the left.
Yep, and Elfie's going to have to swing around in order to defend this base. He might not get there quick enough. Damarga should be able to wipe this out. That said, the Broodlords are potentially vulnerable to some Blink Stalker play here. We'll see. This will be an interesting engagement. Will Elfie actually let him do that? It looks like he might, because I think he's just going to go for the base trade right here, try and smash his way through the static defense while they don't have anything to back them up. However, Damarga has a very short rush distance all the way back there. That is denied. Elfie's got to be careful not to be caught out of position now.
And Fungal Growth's pinned those Stalkers down. What is Blink when Fungal Growth is around? Well, not much.
No.
And now Elfie's army down to 145 already, and there's no way he can combat all these Broodlords.
Yeah, that's really hard. He's got nothing to do it with. He's actually now building 3 Void Rays at the same time. He's tech switched now to Stargate play, which will certainly help him out an awful lot, but he's got to live long enough for that to actually matter. Damarga will, I would think, go for the throat right now. I think he knows that he's done a lot of damage to his opponent, and that Elfie is really in no position to do that. He's got 4,000 minerals in the bank, whereas Elfie is fairly low. I would be surprised to see Damarga play passively here, but if Elfie starts to apply pressure and forces that defensive nature, then he could get the Void Ray count high enough to do real damage.
Yeah, the problem though is Void Rays are great against Broodlords. He has 3 out already, and he is hiding them in his main base with these 3 Stargates. The problem is, John, is that these Infestors are pretty good with the Fungal Growths. Infested Terrans are going to nail them down super fast, and obviously these Queens are going to help out a lot with all their Transfuses and attack.
That's very, very true. Damarga waddling forward with 4 right there. Hey, let's throw a couple of changelings in there. Let's make it interesting. And the Infestor count is kind of silly. We've already got 9 in the mix and 15 Broodlords, if you can actually believe that. I'm actually quite surprised not to see Damarga go for air attack as well. That would really help the Broodlord DPS out quite a bit. He certainly has the cash for it.
More Spine Crawls are being added on. Damarga taking his mining bases now on that left-hand side of this map. Needs to get them up, doesn't want to throw everything onto just the hatcheries he has, needs to get some form of income, and if he spreads creep down this left-hand lane, I mean, that's one of the problems with Damarga, is that his creep spread isn't that dominating compared to players like Morrow and so on.
No, it's not.
And it's quite hard, especially when you're moving around with Queens and so on. It's very hard to maneuver to defend this left-hand side, but he is moving down, preventing any 5th base for Elfie, and now Elfie going for another counter attack, but a lot of Spine Crawls here this time.
Yep, that's something to watch out for, and huge amounts of damage raining down on that. He needs to get out of there almost immediately. His Void Ray count is getting to a very, very high levels at this point. He's about to have 12, and he has +1 on those things, which will help a bit. Obviously, I'd like to see perhaps +2 get research for these, but that is a lot of potential firepower right here. The question is, can he keep them out of the way of the Infestors? If he can, he's going to do massive damage. If he can't, he's going to be in serious trouble.
And this is the problem that we saw Damarga in DreamHack Summer when he played against Soke. He sits back in this position and he lets the Protoss crawl back even though they were so far behind. And all these Void Rays are going to come into the fray now, and there is a lot of them. In 12 in total with +1, and now Damarga is regretting.
Yep, the Overseer coming in right now, and those initial Broodlords doing some damage, but the Void Rays now coming in for the flank. Infested Terrans will back it up right now, but they're being immediately annihilated by charged Void Rays. Very, very fast attack, and now he's going to work on it once again. In the meantime, the Stalk count has been pushed back all the way. This is really tense one way or the other. The Void Rays have been locked down for a 3rd time by Fungal Growths. Huge annihilation push right here by Damarga, and that's it as far as I'm concerned. Those Void Rays have now been annihilated. GG, ladies and gentlemen, what a game it was. And the first game in the series going to Damarga.